Welcome to Ranking the Stars, and we're going to rank not only amazing stars, which are absolute stars, but unfortunately we're also going to rate those who are unfortunately forgotten, and everything in between. So we've got, as you can see, 5 ranks which we're going to place the characters from My Time At Portia in, which range from absolute stars, which is a rank only reserved for the best characters in Portia. Got friend material, the next rank, which is for those who we would love to be friends with, maybe even IRL. But for now, they're just missing the je ne sais quoi. Then we've got the third and the middle rank, we want more. Like, they are good characters, but there was something lacking, something missing, and something that we want more of. And then the bottom, or the one of the lowest ranks is Had Potential, a character that we could imagine having a bigger backstory, that we could imagine having greater quests in Portia, but unfortunately they hadn't, so that's for Had Potential. And I've got unfortunately forgotten for those who are not really sure what they're doing in Portia and what their role is. So yeah, these are the characters. And these are the ranks, so let's get started. And I think we're just going to start with Aiden. And Aiden, I think, is one of the most controversial characters. Simply because, you know, it's Aiden. Like, we think we know he is the knight. He's the bad guy. We don't know for sure, though. But on the other hand, he worked at the tree farm, but we didn't really speak to him, so on one hand, you have this character that is very lackluster, that probably had to go in Had Potential, or maybe unfortunately forgotten even. On the other hand, there's like the speculation, like the shy and quiet Aiden might have been the bad guy all along. So I would say Aiden is Had Potential, or we want more? I think it's we want more, because, I mean, he is a good character, and like the fact that there's this mystery surrounding him, that's really great. But on the other hand, the story that he did have, that we know for sure he had around the tree farm, wasn't so much as an amazing story as it could have been. So We Want More is definitely, I think, the right rank for him. And next up we have Papa Bear, I think he's called. It's Abu. I always call him Papa Bear, I think. And Abu is one of those that is unfortunately forgotten, I'm afraid. Because, let's be honest, what did we do with him? We came across him on the fields, but that's about it. We didn't do anything more with him. And he wasn't any important character for any story. I mean, I wish he had something to do with, how is he called again? With Oaks? I mean, Oaks and Abu were often seen together, or at least living in the same area. And I thought, you know what, maybe there is like the whole story of maybe Oaks being raised by Abu, but there wasn't really, so he wasn't forgotten. Then we got Ag. Or Egg. However you want to pronounce it. So I think he is friend material. Maybe, is he an absolute star? I think he might be an absolute star. Let's place him in there. Because he had a great backstory. I mean, he wasn't there since the beginning, so that's like something that we have to keep in mind, but he was rather fast in the story. He came crashing down on Earth. And we helped him get up, we helped him find love in Lana. And yeah, overall, he wasn't too bad. He had a good storyline, so I liked it. But Albert, who I also think is a really great star. Because he was one of the guys I really liked from the beginning. Like, he talked to me when we came into Portia. He was a nice guy. We became, I mean, I think he was the only one I became friends with in like the first 2 years since I was in Portia. Or probably the first 1.5, I think. But he had also the great story with Sonia. So speaking of Sonia, she's here. I think it's We Want More, unfortunately. I mean, she had a great story arc with Albert. Unfortunately, we don't know very much about her. I mean, we know that she likes to sing, likes to dance, and it ultimately, she got engaged and I think maybe even married Albert, but that's all we know about her. So I feel we're left out of a great story arc of Sonia. So I think we'll leave her and We Want More. So next up, we have, how is she called again? It's Alice from the flower shop. I mean, I kind of want to put her in here, but let's leave it at Had Potential. I can't remember any questline surrounding her was there. Let me think. Wasn't she the one who was writing the book? I think she might have been the one writing the book. And that we have to interact with her. Yeah, I think that's how it went. But anyway, she had... I mean, she was nice to see in Portia, and I didn't really forget her because she was always there. But she wasn't a character that I think is really memorable, and I would have loved to get to know a little bit more about her, because I think she was a single mom. But I am not sure, as in I can't recall her having a boyfriend or anything like that, and yeah, that would be a shame. It was really a shame, to be honest. So, I know she had family, and it was... Which guy was it? Where are you? It's you. I think you're called Jack. Ultimately forgotten. I mean, like all these kids. Like, I think... Is there a kid that stands out to me? I thought we were going like this, but we're going... well, you know what? I'm going to drop all the kids that had potential. Because I didn't forget them, necessarily. It's just, kids were just there. They weren't really fulfilling any role. There's, I think, one quest line surrounding the school, and another one that I made any of these kids a sword, and that the mother was angry. There's another kid there. And that's all I can recall with the children. Which is a shame, because the children were actually having a lot of potential. And I'm really glad to see they're actually considering letting kids grow up in Sandrock, at least from baby to preteen, which I think is the age of these kids. But that's at least something. But for now, these kids are forgotten. Next up, we've got Antoine. Also, we want more. I mean, what do we know about him, really? He works at the Commons Guild, but there's not really a backstory that I'm aware of. Which is a shame, because, I mean, he was nice. I mean, he gave us the missions, which is awesome. I mean, the first couple of missions. Hi, Norman! Welcome to today's stream. I hope you like it here. But I think he gave us the main missions, but overall, he was just there. And I would have loved to know a bit more about him. But Arlo, and he's friends material. He isn't perfect, because there is still a lot I don't know about Arlo. And... yeah, I don't think there was any quest with regards to his personal... how he came to be, how he became to be part of the civil court that he's part of, and what his friends and family are. Like, it's all a bit fake, but overall he was a solid character. I mean, we came across him loads of times, he was a major part in the main mission, so he is friends material. Next up we have, and I have to search for a name because it's Carol. Oh, she ran a clothing shop. She is, I think, ultimately forgotten. I don't know how Carol could have had any potential, really. I mean, she was this Jess. She was one of the shop owners. And often with games like these, the shop owners tend to be a little bit... like, you can easily forget them. And she was just there. And I think her husband, Mars, I think this is Mars, also ultimately forgotten, unfortunately. Nice shop owner, but overall, they could have literally placed anyone there, and I wouldn't have noticed, to be honest. Dana. Oh, dear Dana. I have a feeling we don't know anything about you, except that you had a mine. And I don't know whether it's my fault, because stuff went really fast after I unlocked Dana's mine. But I'm not sure how much there is in the game with regards to Dana. However, I think she had potential. Like, she had this connection with the brothers. With, how they're called again. Wuwa, Qiwa, the rap brothers. I mean, she had a connection with them. It wasn't really explored all that much, I feel like. And that's a shame, because I think there lies potential for Dana. But if it wasn't there, then she was also, unfortunately, forgotten. Right, the first of the Wa brothers is Dawa. And Dawa is the tree farm person. So, I mean, he's friend material, I think. Of all the Wa brothers, I think he's the one with the most friend material. Simply because there's this whole tree farm stuff going on. And I think we get to know Dawa pretty well during our tree farm quest. I mean, he isn't just as much friend material as Arlo. But on the other hand, Arlo is borderline absolute star. So he's just the average character here, which is probably should have him in Real more, but I think we've got enough Dawa for a game like Portia. So next up, we've got how is he called again? I am so bad with names. It is like the time where you can easily see that. It's Jjenko. Jjenko was an absolute star. An amazing star, to say so. I mean, we know quite a bit of him. After the main storyline concluded, or like near the end, you get to know a little bit about Jjenko, who he used to be, what he used to do before he came to Portia. And also his cafe seems like a very nice and rounded place to be. So overall, I think he is one of the absolute stars of Portia. Then we've got Emily, and Emily is friends material. I mean, she is literally the girl next door. She is sweet, she is kind, she gives you gifts, wants to go on playdates with you. But unfortunately, there is not a lot we know about Emily. Which is a shame. Like, I don't know what she does on the farm, or how she decided she wants to be a farmer, or what her family does in Portia. I don't know. Or if she is a nice family. That's the big question as well. So, yeah, and then we've got another one. We've got Urwa from the Wa brothers. And Urwa is actually the guy from the newspaper. And I think he's friend material as well. Like, we've got a little quest line with that he is very sensitive hearing, that he needs ear mufflers, he's one of the Wa brothers, which also on its own already gives him a little bit of backstory to begin with. So I think he is friend material. He's nice, but that's about it. Then we've got Gale. And I think Gale is in the We Want More category. Hear me out. I know this is kind of controversial probably. We know that he lives with Ginger and with... how are you called again? Jeez. Gust. But on the other hand, what do we really know about him? Why did he become the mayor? I am not really sure. So, that's a bit my problem. That I don't know that much about Gale, even though his character we've seen that often in the game. So that's why I put him in a We Want More, because I feel like there's a lot of time we spend together, but ultimately I don't know anything about him. But there is probably a whole part of Ginger, Gust, and even the butler, Russo, that we could explore. Oh, poor little Ginger. Where am I going to place you? I mean, I want to place her in friend material because she is a really nice girl. And there is a little bit explained why she is carrying her umbrella around and why her brother Gust is always with her. But at the same time, I feel like... I don't know, is there something missing? Or could she just be the shy girl? I think she could just be the shy girl, like every game has one. So she's friends material. Gust. I mean, we do get to know about his love for architecture and his love for architectural books and his love for his sister and father. I think he is in friends material as well. Or we want more. I'm going to downgrade him, I think. Nah, he's okay. I mean, we got at least a little bit of backstory on Gust, which we did lack in any of these characters, so... Higgins. I think... I think we're going to give him an absolute star. Simply because, like, the bad guy in the game, or the unlikable guy, which is Higgins, absolutely, in Portia. No questions asked. But he's great because he is simple. He just wants to be the very best. And join his way. And I don't think a character like that needs any more explanation. They could have. I mean, there's no reason why you should not give a character like that explanation. But still, I think he has just enough explanation to him that he is just an absolute star and great in what he does in the game. So that's awesome. Alright, then we've got Isaac, who is just... I think we had one quest fairly early on in Portia that we have to make a stone table for him. But ultimately, he is forgotten. Minister Lee. We've got next, and Minister Lee, unfortunately, had potential. Or we want more? I think we want more, because we do know quite a bit about him and his love-hate relationship with the AIs that walk around there, but still I feel lacking. And I would have loved to have a more personal quest line about his devotion to the church and what the arrival of AI means to him, but unfortunately, besides like a discussion between him and the research center, there wasn't much going on. So he leaves me a little bit lacking, unfortunately. Next up, we have Lua. And Lua is actually... Who are you? Who are you of the Lua brothers? Fishing. You're the fisher. Okay. I feel like he's the one lacking a bit. I think he is unfortunately a little bit forgotten, to be honest. Considering that we had, I think, maybe one quest with him. But that's about it. And overall, I mean, I think he gave us a fishing rod, basically. But that's about it. And I think we have to find him at some point in the game. And I think he might be the one at the Ember Island who is there day and night, guarding the entrance of the spooky cave. But overall, forgotten. I think Lucy had potential. Because, I mean, she was the teacher of the school. But we don't really know about her. Like, why is her passion teaching? And, like, what does she have to do in Portia? Like, does she have family there? Doesn't she have family there? Basically anything. But I think that she could have had an amazing backstory and a little bit more sustenance, which she is lacking as of now. But I think it could have been there. So, next up, we've got, and how are you called again? Martha. I think she is ultimately forgotten as well. Like, I can't recall. I mean, I've seen Carol and Martha together, like, doing yoga or stretches or anything like that in the morning. But that's about it. I haven't seen her anywhere else that I can remember. So, she stays there. I think McDonald's and Auntie. I think your Auntie. You both had to go and had potential. Like, I would have loved to know a bit more about the farm, about how they decided to set up shop, how it all goes. I know McDonald had a quest line where we had to repair his his stables, which was awesome. But overall, they were just lacking a bit, but they are not forgotten. Maybe because they were my neighbors. But yeah, that's about it. Mei is an absolute star. Can't go around it. We know about her past. We know that she wanted to write for, like, the big guys in the city, but ultimately she gets noticed and she gets an invitation and still stays in Portia because all her friends are here. So I think she's an absolute star. We've got the backstory, we've got what she does in Portia, we know a lot about her. She is amazing. I can't go around it. Then I've got Merlin. And Merlin is same as Lee. Like, for once, they're on the same line. But she... I don't know whether I know much about her. She seems kinda... Like, I know she's supposed to be, like, not this mad scientist, but, like, this forgetful, chaotic scientist. But that's also not really something I got from her. So I'm a little bit confused as to which part Merlin is supposed to play in this story besides the researcher from the research center. Can't really place her, unfortunately. It's a shame. Got Mint. Mint is ultimately forgotten. Though we know we're going to see him in Sandrock again. So I hope he has a bigger story there. I know he came from Sandrock to help Portia out. But 9 out of 10 times I've seen him, he was sleeping on one of the benches in the park, so... Yeah, he's not my favorite character. They've got Nora. And Nora is... We want more. I think she had potential. A lot of potential. We know a little bit about her, but not enough for me to place her in friends material. But also, like, we at least know something about her, so she isn't head potential, so... Somewhere in the middle. Oaks, I think he's gonna be head potential as well. Like, as I said with Abu, when I placed Abu in Unfortunately Forgotten, there is not really a story with them together. But at least Oaks we saw walking around town, and I want to know him. And I want to know why he's clothed like that, and why he's the way he is, and all that kind of stuff, but it wasn't there. So I think there was a lot of potential there that was unfortunately left out. Paulie. I want more Paulie. I mean, Paulie is an amazing character. Like, the little bits and pieces we have seen here and there was amazing. Also, just the fact that he was running around with a group of Portia citizens, and he was doing push-ups near the entrance of the town. I mean, he was good. Oh, my dear Petra. And your data discs. I can't really put you in friends material. You had potential. I don't know nothing about you. You're even lower than Merlin, which I wouldn't have expected if you asked me, like, compared to Merlin, where would she be? And I barely know her. Like, I know of a... Just give me data discs and I'm going to research it for you. And I think that's about it that I know about her. Or at least that I remembered, which... I mean, if I don't remember it, it probably wouldn't have been really amazing. So, sorry Petra, you have to go and have potential. Phyllis is Unfortunately Forgotten. Same goes for Pinky. Oh, and then we've got... What are you called again? I am so forgetful with names. You are Presley, our welcoming person. I mean... He's gotta go and have potential as well. I liked him as a character, but still, I don't know anything about him. Which leaves me, like, a little bit lacking. I mean, he welcomed us. Oh, no, we're going to put him a lot more, because we know he was friends with our father. He was friends with our father. So that leaves him in... we want more, because there was like a backstory there, but we're not entirely sure as to how it all went. Then we've got Qiwa, and Qiwa is the guy, what did you do? You're the guy from... Are you the fisherman? Not really sure what you are, which is why you're going in... I think ultimately forgotten. The fact that I can't even recall what you're doing and where you're supposed to be is horrible, but still I can't recall what you do. So sorry, you gotta go in forgotten. Pinky, not Pinky. It's, how are you called again? It's QQ. You've got this pig had too much screen time. So unfortunately, I didn't have another category down here, which is way too much screen time. Could have done without less. So you're going ultimately forgotten. Remington, I think, is a star. Like, we've got a little bit of backstory. We know about his love for too spicy food. He is this kind of weird character with a kind of wacky sense around him, and like I really enjoyed him as a character, and I feel like I know enough about him that I am not wishing anything more. Got Russo, and I think Russo is friends material. Like, we've got a little bit of backstory, and we know he's a butler from Gale and Gust and Ginger. Dang, all these names. I'm struggling a bit here. So we know a little bit about his backstory. We know he's the butler, and there is a little bit of information to get from here and there. But overall, I think he's perfectly fine. Sam, on the other hand, is we want more. Like, I do enjoy her as a character. She was very spirited and all that kind of stuff, but we don't know that much about her, and I feel like that is something that is a little bit left out, if you ask me. Alright, there are so many of those brothers. So many. This is Sanba, and I think... What are you doing? You're the barber. Okay. Forgotten, let's be honest. One of those shopkeepers that you easily can forget. You, Scraps, I mean, you're not forgotten, but you had too much screen time as is. I don't need more of you in any way, shape, or form. I think that's Siwa, who is the next brother, and he is the one of the last ones. And let me see. He is. Oh, he was the one afraid of the cold and lives in the desert. Okay, he had a little bit more potential. Oh, we want more. Like, he had a bit of backstory, but it was very briefly touched upon. But I would love to know a bit more about him. So, unfortunately... Yeah, he has to go there. Then we've got our lovely Sophie from... Wait a second. Did I swap Sophie and Yeye around? I did. I am so sorry. Sophie, you belong here. Yeye, and I think you're forgotten. Let's be honest. We know you're in... what's it called again? I am so lost is what it's called. She is the only family from the Hulu brothers. That's what we know. Let's keep her for that potential. I mean, I'm not gonna remove her from there. She was the one in the desert where we could get extra... I think it was the motel where we could get the extra small quest where you have to fill a cart with certain ingredients. So we didn't really forget about her, but also there was like not really a story around her, which is a shame because she had potential, is all I can say. Then, aren't you? You're not Mars, because I'm always forgetting you two. You're Tody. Tody is... I think... Like, I would say he was good enough. He was good enough. I'm gonna leave him at this we want more, because, like, a little bit of a follow-up about how it all went down is fine. He was a fisherman. He got angry with, the AI, and then he destroyed stuff, and yeah, then it all went down. Isn't he? Like, I think he is, isn't he? Now I'm wondering. Yeah, and then he was the one doing the pinecocks. So, no, you're actually perfect. You're an absolute star. You had like a little bit of conflict. You had like a resolved ending. You're a star. A rounded character in Portia. That's all I can say. Last of the Hulu brothers is Wuwa. And Wuwa is the sailor, which we see once or twice. He is forgettable. Really. Dr. Xu. Also forgotten? No, let's leave him at lab potential. We had a couple of interactions with him. He was the one telling us about the healing properties, I think, of some of the plants around Portia. So I think we've had that, and there was, I think, one errand we had to run for him, and... that's about it, really. I think a little bit of more backstory would have made him a more well-rounded character, so for now, head potential is probably the place where he should go. And lastly, a character that I don't even recognize, which is weird. Apparently he's called Yoyo. And, he's the pangolin exclusive pet for the backers of the Kickstarter. Can only put him in, unfortunately forgotten. I didn't even know who he was, so yeah. Sorry guys, I wasn't the backer of both Portia and Sandrock, and I realized too late that Sandrock was a thing. Or that Portia was a thing, because I didn't know about them. So, anyway, there we've got our list, and I think it's pretty well balanced. We've got, well, relatively speaking, I think there are like 2/3 of the characters that I have are in the bottom tiers. Or like 1/3 above. But it's maybe me who is really expecting a lot from a game like this, and I don't know whether they have any intention of, like, rounding out the characters a bit more, like giving every character a reason as why to be there. On the other hand, I can imagine that, like, characters as Carol, Mars, Martha, Phyllis, I know, like, those characters, I can understand that you're not really giving them any time, because they're just shopkeepers, and those have to be there, otherwise you don't have shops. But I hope, especially, like, the We Want More on the thread material, if you have a character that kind of, like, bounces around here, I feel like they could just have done a little bit more love, and a little bit more, exploration, to say so. So, this was me ranking my Time At Portia characters. Maybe we do some Stardew Valley somewhere in the future, because I've got an opinion of those characters as well, though I have to say Stardew Valley is a whole other level, considering that basically every dateable character has a major storyline tied to them.